Cool, great. Thank you, Rob. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm very happy to talk to you about this great theme, motivation in teaching English as a second language. And motivation is a basic theme in our English language classroom that people ignore. And that's the reason why I've chosen to talk to you about that theme, which is motivation. So the first step of motivation, why should learners learn English? Then the learners at the beginning of each class, at the beginning of an academic year, really want to know why they have to study that language. Why should they be interested in that English language? So it is up to the teacher to tell the learners the reason why they should be interested in that language. So from there, they will choose to engage themselves in the learning process of that language. So what is the benefit of learning that English language? So this should be highlighted by the English language teacher to the learners. When they know how and why they should learn that language, they will be more likely to be engaged in that learning process. So the second step is the presentation of the English language to learners. How is the language presented to the learners for the first day? We say language is a cake. Language is a cake. That means, well, it depends upon the way that the teacher is presenting the language that can determine whether the student have to get involved or interested in that language or not. So the language, when it is presented in a very interesting way, in a very clean way, in a very attractive way, students are more engaged in the language classroom. So language is a cake. I've presented the language, here. You see how the cake is well presented in a plate, in a dish. But if I mix that cake and I hand it over to someone, the person won't take it. It is the same thing for the language. If the language is well presented with a sweet tone, sweet benefit that learners are going to gain or benefit from, so the learners will be active in learning that language. How can I get this prize? Because when the learner is presented the language, it is very interesting and he is likely to start learning that language. Now, the teacher has presented the language as a place where the learners have to reach out. So to reach that place, the learner is like that man clothed in a blue here. The learner is at that level, then looking to see that place where he had to go, then that place that has been shown to him by the teacher. So how can I get there? How can I get this prize that has been shown to me by my teacher or by my instructor? This is the question that every learner will be asking themselves at the beginning of the learning process. Then it is now the teacher's responsibility or the instructor's responsibility to motivate and bring in all the tools or all the skills that the learner needs in order to reach that place. Then, and to do so, we need motivation, because at the beginning of any learning process, we need to be motivated. We have two basic type of motivation, the intrinsic motivation and the extrinsic motivation. The intrinsic motivation is what is related to the learner himself, to what is coming from him. For example, the learner may choose to learn something or to learn a language because he wants to gain something, because he wants something from himself. He knows that, okay, I need to learn the English language because if I learn it, I'll have many opportunities, or I can come across many new people. I can communicate with various people all around the world. But the extrinsic motivation is what is coming just outside of the learner. For example, the learner may learn a language or a subject or a topic because he's waiting for a prize, or he may learn that topic because he doesn't want to be punished at school, or his parent told him that, okay, if he has a good mark, or if he does well, they're going to buy him maybe a bicycle, motorcycle, or a car, or anyway, a book. So then I think that both types of motivations are very interesting and go together, because the intrinsic motivation is sometimes reinforced by the intrinsic motivation. And it is important for the English language teacher to contrast both motivation and to know how to manage them in an English language classroom, to reinforce a student's personal motivation by extrinsic motivation. It may be marks, it may be prizes, or it may be appreciation. People can clap for the one who gives a good answer, for example. So among all the motivation, we have to talk about the class environment. It depends upon the way the teacher himself is organizing his classes that can determine whether the students have to be active or not. And in the traditional classroom, you could see that the teacher was like the god of the knowledge, or like there's someone who is possessing the whole knowledge to transmit to the learners. And learners are at that time so passive. But to motivate an English language classroom, learners, we need to involve that strategy or that skills that is putting the learner at the center of the learning process. So the learner-directed or learner-centered activities should be developed in an English language classroom. So when the learner notices that he has something valuable to contribute to the English language class, then he is likely to get engaged or committed to contributing. So it is the teacher's responsibility to give that little autonomy to the so that he can have confidence, in himself, be aware of his contribution or the strength of his ideas that can contribute to the development of the English language class. So how can we motivate learners? There are many ways of motivating the learners, and the teacher himself is a motivation. It depends upon the way the teacher is, for example, dressed. This is important because the learner at the beginning of each class is first of all interested in the teacher himself, the techniques or the strategies, before being interested in the content. So it is very important not to neglect our attitude towards the student, how we manage the differences, because many students are coming from different backgrounds, different areas, so we need to consider all these things in order not to hurt anyone. And also the rewards are also basic. We need to prepare maybe prizes, and we don't even need to sell everything to buy these prizes, but there are ways of praising a student who does well. We can clap for that student. We can give maybe a small point to that student, or put the name of that student on a wall to mean that this is the special student who does well, or who did well in the preceding week, or who does well actually. Then the classroom, to be motivated, we need to create fun activities. We have to use a lot of games, use technology, because young people today really love technology. And I've got this experience by putting my student to watch a video online. It was a TED Talk about how to speak in a public, and it was very, very interesting. So the songs, theater, and we have to use also authentic materials, group work, competition, and all the rest. Then why is motivation important? It is important because it helps students to believe in themselves, to reach their goals, to achieve what they need to do. So to conclude, motivation is very important in our English language classroom. Then I hope you enjoyed my class, my presentation. Thank you, and I hope to meet you next time. Bye-bye.